Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. It's nice to see that others have come to the same conclusion that I came to a very, very, very long time ago, which is simply that people don't want your XRP when it's cheap. They don't feel validated. In fact, it feels scary purchasing XRP when it's been trading sideways or trending downwards. So when your XRP's 25, 35, 40, 50 cents, here we're a little over 50 cents at the time that I'm recording this, people just don't want it. The normies don't anyway. I mean, I understand, of course, I want it, you want it, but the average person out there, they will not feel validated until it costs way more. So if you ever catch yourself thinking, oh gosh, how is it really the case? XRP is a little over 50 cents. Somebody's going to buy it from me for $10? Yes, that is the type of thing that happens when it comes to investing, certainly in crypto. Now, that's not a guarantee of where price is going to go for XRP. That's not the point of this. The point of this is that if your concern is, will people buy this if it's priced way, way, way more, yes, the answer is yes. It'll get there because of human psychology. People, I know it sounds ridiculous on the surface, but this is just how humans react. People feel validated. It feels safe if they're buying something that is increasing in price, even though that means that since it has increased in price, there's way less opportunity. So I understand what it means to have been beaten down and XRP to have not had a new all-time high for almost 7 years, though I always blame the SEC. We missed a market cycle, and you only have an opportunity every 4 years, so it makes sense that XRP hasn't had an all-time high yet. But just because that is the case, it doesn't mean that it can't or won't happen in the future. And also, by the way, I'll get to this article later in the video. From the Crypto Basic, 2 traders spot imminent big move for XRP based on Bollinger Bands with potential explosion of over 71,000%. Now, ignore the percentage. That's not what the analyst that they were covering in this article actually said. I don't know why they decided to tack that on, other than I guess they think it's plausible or they want clicks. It's not plausible, just to be clear, but I'll explain why later. But in terms of the markers that the analysts are talking about, yes, that absolutely can mean a massive explosion for price action of XRP, and historically, it has. Like, we are at that moment, and I know that we've been saying this as a crypto community, as an XRP community, the whole time that we've been moving sideways for over half a year at this point. But the market does have to break to the upside. That opportunity is there. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it's 4:17 p.m. Central Time on Friday, October 25th, 2024. XRP is 51 cents. Bitcoin down to 66,960 bucks. Market has been a little bit in the red today, but we're just in this range of volatility. There's nothing particularly horrific that has caused this small decline today. Frankly, not a particularly big deal. The question is, what happens in the short term? I'm just pure curiosity for me. It's not going to change what I do, and I'm also not going to have some sort of emotional scares if the market goes down. I've been through too many of these instances for a span of close to 7 years at this point. It just doesn't impact me anymore. But since I have skin in the game, it's fun to track it. So in the short term, yes, that's the question is, are we going to go down further? And I'm not seeing strong conviction from most of the analysts that I follow. Some acknowledge, yeah, it could go lower. There are a number of other analysts that think, probably more likely we're going to go up from here, even if we do see a small dip in the short term. I'm seeing comments along those lines. And so don't expect anything in the short term that would be out of line for XRP specifically either. The market indeed does move in tandem. It's just that once things get going, yeah, Bitcoin goes up, leads the market, but XRP will substantially outperform from there because it has way less money in it. But here's a post from chart analyst Credible Crypto. This is from just last night. He said, prepping for some counter-trend scalp longs on this next dip. If they work out, it implies Bitcoin ranges / chops for some days longer before the big nuke. So, and that was just last night. He still does believe that what is probable, though not certain, is that we are going to see a notable move down in price for Bitcoin. And in fact, just this afternoon, a couple hours ago, he reposted this post, which he shared yesterday morning initially. So he still clearly believes this is what's most probable. He says it's playing out beautifully right now. I was just looking for that upside target and then nuke to the downside. And so he's looking at potentially Bitcoin getting into the lower 60,000s or upper 59,000s In recent days, I've not seen him talking about Bitcoin potentially getting as low as the upper 40,000s, which he was talking about a week and a half ago. And so maybe that's indicating a shift in where he thinks the short-term lows would be should we get the opportunity for them. And he's noted, he's gone in depth on his channel, on his page, and if you want to really get into the nitty-gritty, like, go check out the specifics. But he's tracking various markers, various metrics. He says that they're hitting in a way that for the last half a year have been hit a number of times, and every time they've been hit, it has resulted in a move to the downside. Doesn't mean it's the end of the world, but it also doesn't change anything on the higher time frame. He still firmly believes, yes, number go up, new all-time high for Bitcoin, goes to 6 figures, XRP over $10. He's predicted all of these things. Nothing changes here. He's just saying, yeah, and this is something that some people on X seem to not be able to grasp. So what, you're telling me you can be bearish and bullish at the same time? Yes, you can be bearish on short term and bullish on the higher time frame, meaning the big picture. Both these things are not mutually exclusive, and there are some people, small-brained people, have trouble comprehending this on social media platform X. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom, and he basically just indicated, I'm going to try and keep this brief so I can keep the video flowing here, but he's basically saying, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, all-time high is imminent as long as the price for Bitcoin holds above $63,000, which again, at this time, it certainly is. Here's a post from chart analyst Rect Capital, one of the most popular analysts in crypto, 507,000 followers on X, and he wrote this about Bitcoin. The old downtrend is now acting as support. Looks like textbook post-breakout confirmation. So he is one of the analysts that thinks that most probable is number go up. Here's a post from Charting Guy. Bitcoin lower time frame update. Just means short term. Like I said last night at the local high, this slight bounce could be a B wave of an ABC correction. If we can't hold $67,640, which by the way we're below now, then watch the key levels marked below. And he cited a few of them going down to 63,000, and then he notes the worst case for him would be $60,250. Now that is particularly aligned with what Credible Crypto is now saying. That's interesting. So we'll see what happens here, but he's not counting on it necessarily getting that low. But yes, he thinks there's a reasonable chance we could see a dip to the downside. Now this has happened as whales have been scooping up some Bitcoin. In fact, take a look at this. This is from on-chain analytics firm Santiment. Bitcoin's whale wallets, which we can define loosely as 100 or more Bitcoin, have grown by 297 wallets, that's plus 1.9%, in just the past 2 weeks. During the same time frame, the amount of wallets with under 100 Bitcoin has shrunk by 20,629 wallets. So, tale as old as time, as the smaller holders panic because they do behave different than the more wealthy speculators out there, the whales, as the smaller investors panic and capitulate, the whales are there to purchase their fear. Absolutely, they'll purchase that fear right at a nice discount on Bitcoin. Tale as old as time, my friends. The whales don't get wrong-footed. It's the typical lemming retail speculators with all of their emotions that act in silly ways. The whales always count on it. It's very predictable, very reliable. And they just, on the whole, they don't learn. Individuals can learn to maybe stop investing based on emotions. But on an individual, yeah, anybody can, in theory. But on the whole, you're always going to have this whole sect of people that are going to keep acting like this. They cannot help. It's just how humans behave. Which is why I love my approach, which is after I buy stuff, I don't touch it. Either I'm wrong and it goes to zero, or I'm right and it's worth way more, in which case finally one day I sell. That's that. And I'm very strict with myself on this because I'm not going to fall into this trap. I absolutely am not. I'm aware of it. I know that humans will keep acting like this. I'm not going to act like that. That's how poor people act. I'm not going to do that. And I don't mean that to be insulting. I mean, if you're poor, maybe don't act like poor people if you want to get out of that. And it's not to be rude to poor people at all. I want everybody to feel inspired to get out of whatever their financial situation is if it's not positive or acceptable, of course. But you don't do that by engaging in behaviors that keep poor people where they are. You don't do that. So this is a great example. This is a great way to stay poor in crypto, just doing what they're doing, rather than just holding for the long term. Another great way to stay poor, try to be a trader. Almost all of them lose money. So maybe you'd be the tiny minority, the 5% that don't lose money. Okay, good for you if so, genuinely actually. But do you want to risk that? Do you want the stress of doing that? Because it can be a full-time job learning that and mastering it, and then you're always having to manage that risk. Is that the world you want to live in on top of that? Because you could just, go down an easy street, just buy stuff and then just hold. Like, that's what works in the stock market. It sure as hell works in crypto. And I still think the crypto asset class is more risky for a number of reasons, but there's also greater opportunity for reward. So you guys do whatever you want here. I'm just saying this keeps happening over and over and over again. So I'll be here, but that's the thing. Most of what it is to be in crypto, it's like sideways and downward price action. And there's some slow upward price action. But the most exciting days, they're very few and far between. It's almost 0% of days. And those days when you have the euphoric action, the huge jumps in price, of course, those are the most fun. See, that's a great thing about my strategy of doing nothing after I buy stuff is I'll have that exposure when it happens, and then my net worth goes up substantially. And so that doesn't mean I'm bearing the downward volatility as well, but we're trending upward, so what the hell do I care? I don't, right? And so speaking of wild volatility to the upside, how about XRP? So this headline here from the Crypto Basic, I don't like that they slapped the 71,000% on here. But because look, and I understand, XRP it did literally increase about 80,000% from the bottom to the top of the cycle. Well, the cycle that topped, early 2018, that did happen. But XRP started at about half a penny, so it wasn't that hard, not as hard anyway, to get that type of crazy multiplier effect. But to get it from here, no, it's not going to happen. Anybody that says it's going to happen, especially this market cycle, they are peddling you false hopes. Which isn't to say XRP won't be worth a fortune compared to where it is. I'm still very optimistic that it shall be, but that is insane. 71,000%. Get the hell out of here with that nonsense. I can't take it. So anyway, I just wanted to highlight this briefly because there are a couple more analysts that are highlighting the fact that Bollinger Bands are the tightest they've ever been in history. They highlighted a couple more analysts here, and it's worth noting. Like, part of the reason I keep highlighting this is because, first of all, it's interesting because the Bollinger Bands hit the tightest in history in April of this year, even tighter than in 2017, right before XRP rocketed, but they keep getting even tighter. They have been for over half a year now. That's kind of crazy and interesting, right? Because what precedes tight Bollinger Bands, or what happens after, rather? A notable break. It's going to be to the upside or the downside. What do you think is most probable? Well, I'm guessing to the upside, since we are indeed in a bull market. But it's so fascinating to see that every single unbiased chart analyst that I come across, when they're charting XRP, it seems like pretty much all of them have noticed this. It's pretty much universally recognized as legit and highly consequential for what happens with XRP moving forward. That's the reason that I love highlighting this. So anyway, check this out. In his analysis, Random Crypto Pal, that's the analyst, one of them, emphasized that XRP is getting squeezed between the Bollinger Bands, and he noted that this has happened only twice in the past, both times preceding a significant price explosion. According to him, quote, something is going to happen soon for XRP, end quote. Yeah, well, I do believe that. And so, of course, the last two times this happened, he's talking about the last two cycles. Last market cycle, that was not an all-time tightness for the Bollinger Bands, though you could see, if you're looking on the screen, it's right here where I'm circling. Yeah, it was notable for sure. But look at 2017, that was the tightest up to that point. And here we are now, for those of you looking at the screen where I'm circling on this little chart. That's where we're now, tightest in history. And then they write here, likewise, Steph, another crypto analyst, pointed out that XRP is coiling within the Bollinger Bands on the monthly chart, also stressing that a big move is imminent. And that's a quote, big move is imminent for XRP. Just a matter of time. And so I understand that it's been over half a year that the market's been trending sideways. We don't get to control that. It's not a fault of XRP. The market's just moving in tandem. But either you have exposure when it goes or you don't. And I understand that it does feel like forever, when you're living through it, but it's really not. Eventually 10 years are going to pass. You'll look at a 20-year chart of XRP, and this little 6-7 month period is going to look like nothing, because it is in the end. It's a big nothing. It just feels painful and like it's never going to end while you're living through it. But it doesn't matter. Either we're right or we're wrong, and if we're right, we're going to get ours. And my strong suspicion, I've been betting on for a long time, is that we're absolutely correct. And by the way, this is happening at the same time that Bitcoin Bollinger Bands are looking pretty good. Here's a post from chart analyst Tony Severino. He says, a huge move is coming. Bitcoin 2-week Bollinger Bands are among the 3 tightest instances in history. Oh, is that right? So among the tightest in history for Bitcoin, which also would mean big burst for Bitcoin, up or down, and you tell me what you think. And it's happening at the same time that XRP is literally at the tightest in history for this metric, Bollinger Bands. Well, color me surprised. What do you think's going to happen, folks? You tell me in the comment section below, but I think it makes sense to be an optimist here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.